ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ. So now we will discuss a little serious topic called the comparison between these three models. Abhasavada, Pratibimbavada and Avachedavada. Going away from Pancadasi for a time being. The very first thing is why the three models are required. That we should know. There's sometimes always, people generally they have their own doubts regarding acharyas also. If there is one Brahman, or there is identity between Jiva and Ishvara, then to understand there should be one model, one method. Why there should be many methods, and then one acharya says this method is better and the second acharya says that method is better. And so I think they say like that. I think acharyas themselves are not clear. So I would like to discuss why these models are required. Models, any model ultimately will reach to the same destination. The destination is the principle of the Vedanta, that is the identity between Jiva and Ishvara. So I will explain you in two ways why three models are required. That I will explain you in two ways. First thing is, let's go to Kathopanishad. In Kathopanishad there is one mantra which says Rutam pibantau sukrutasya loke guham pravishtav parame parardhe chaya tapau brahmavido vadanti, etc., etc. And so it's a 131. Then further, if you go in the same Upanishad, in the same section rather, the other mantras appear. Atmanam rathinam viddhi shariram rathamevatu buddhim tu sarathim viddhi manah pragrahamevache indriyani paranyahu, etc., etc. Means this Jivatma who is a Rathi, who is seated in this body which is Shariram Rathamevatu. Body is a chariot. The Jiva who is a Rathi, who is sitting in this chariot, and that Rathi reaches the destination. Tad Vishnoh paramam padam apnoti. He reaches to the Ishvara. the moksha. Same thing. Either you say moksha, either you say Paramatma, same thing. Which is Brahman. So this and the fact that the jivas be remaining in the body reaches. It seems the body is required to reach, like a car is required to reach. Same thing. Either the Vedika example is a chariot. Today, modern example is a car. Sitting in a car, the person from Silersburg reaches to the New York. Same. And when two buildings are very near, then the person from the one building goes to another building, doesn't require either a chariot or a car. So jiva residing in this body, which is a chariot or a car, reaches to Brahman. Therefore, there is a long distance between jiva and Ishvara. So, jivas basically, definitely remaining in the body, that is the car. With the help of that car, he reaches the destination Ishvara, moksha, etc. And therefore, jiva and Ishvara are one alone. That doesn't look like. That's the thing. Anyway, so basically, in order to get rid of this notion, the Kathopanishad introduces this mantra called Rutam Pibantau Sukrutasya Loke, Guham Pravishtau Parame Pararthe, etc. That shows that in this body itself, both are available. Guham Pravishtau, Hridaya Guha, Pravishtau, dual. So jiva has not to reach the destination of the Parameshwara with the help of this body, not away from it. In this body itself, well, both have entered into this Hridaya Guha, Guham Pravishtau. So that makes clear that Jiva and Parameshwara are not away. But still, if both have entered, then there are both. Jiva cannot be Parameshwara, Parameshwara cannot be Jiva. So that also Kathopanishad makes it very clear. You said Rathinam Vidya, etc. creates a doubt of the distance between Jivatma and Paramatma. But then this mantra itself tells that there two have entered, they have used also dual number, means they are not one. You say Jiva is Brahman, that's your principle. That's not correct. Both have entered into Guham Pravishtau, both have entered. And therefore, if we accept, how will you explain this now? Well, and if we accept it without understanding, we are moving away from the principle of Vedanta called Kevaladvaitam. Kevaladvaitam. There is none other than Parameshwara or Brahman. One without second. No. Guham Pravishtau. At least one is there. Jiva is there other than Brahman. Therefore, Dvaitavadin says we don't accept Advaita Siddhanta because mantra in the Veda itself reveals there are two. So, and then there is another mantra in Mundaka Upanishad also. द्वा सुपर्णा सयुजा सखायौ समानं वृक्षं परिशस्व जाते तयोः अन्यं पिप्पलं स्वादु अत्ति अनश्नन् अन्यः अभिचाकशीति. Sakhayau, dual, two birds on the same tree, samsara vriksha. Two birds are there. One is continuously eating phalam. The second one is not eating. One is bhokta, other is abhokta. Abhokta is Ishvara, bhokta is Jiva. Anyway, so with this help of these two mantras, they establish the principle of Dvaitam. So Vishishtadvaitam, Dvaitadvaitam, Shuddhadvaitam is all included here in Dvaitam. Vishishtadvaitam also is not Advaitam because they accept that there is one Brahman which is Vishishtam. One Brahman, Narayana, is having all the Jivas as its part and Jagat also as its part. So Jiva, Jagat and this Narayana together becomes one. That's how say Advaita. But there are actually in that there are three. Jiva and Jagat are parts. Basically Jagat is the body of the Brahman and Jivas are all the sparks of this Narayana consciousness, which are non-separate from the Brahman, Narayana. So, Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara are different. Together they become one. That's how they call Advaita, but this is Vishishta Advaitam. Therefore, they are also really not Dvaitam. They are not really Advaitam, that is Dvaitam alone. One who accepts any division between Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara is Dvaiti only. Jiva, Jiva is different. Jiva, Jagat is different. Jagat, Ishvara is different because Ishvara, Narayana's body is this Jagat, they say. And therefore, one who resides in the body is distinct from the body. That's how it is. And therefore, Vishishtadvaitin also is a Dvaitin only. And Dvaitadvaitam, etc. and Shuddhadvaitam of Vallabhacharya, etc. all are basically Dvaitavada. And they are very, very happy with this, both the mantras of Mundaka Upanishad and Katha Upanishad also. Even though word Advaitam is connected with all these three, Vishishta Advaitam, Dvaita Advaitam, Dvaitadvaitam, and Shuddha Advaitam, even the word Advaitam is associated with them, but that is not Advaitam. Now, our turn. Kevala Advaitin, how will they explain this mantra, keeping the principle of Kevala Advaitam? That there is no division between Jiva and Ishvara. Jivatma and Paramatma are not at all different. Even though Pravishtau is there, dual is there, still there is no division at all. And to explain that there is no division between Jiva and Parameshwara, means to establish Kevala Advaitam, there are three methods, three models, and we call it as a Vadaha. The first one is Avacheda Vadaha. Second is a Abhasa Vadaha. And the third one is a Pratibimba Vadaha. Either of these three, with the help of either of these three models, you can establish that there is no division between Jivatma and Paramatma. So this division between Jivatma and Paramatma is apparent. And therefore in reality they are one alone. To explain that, these three models we have. So this is purpose of why there are three models. Because to explain the principle of Kevala Advaitam. Based on what? Upanishad. Upanishad talks about what? Kevala Advaitam. No. Upanishad talks about even this so-called division between Jivatma and Paramatma. Which Upanishad? Kathopanishad. Which Upanishad? Mundaka Upanishad. That's how their principles also, they are also Vedantin. Vishishadvaitin, Shuddhadvaitin, and this our Dvaitadvaitin, they are called Vedantins. Because they ultimately derive the support from the Upanishad itself with this kind of mantras. Our mantra is our Mahavakya, Tattvamasi, etc., which establishes clearly the identity between the two. Then to accommodate these mantras belong to the same Upanishad where the Mahavakya is also there. Well, we have to explain and to fold them into a principle, and to explain that we have these three models. Clear? And now there is another way also we can give the purpose of these three models that I will talk to you a little later. So, that is three: Avachedavada, Abhasvada, and Pratibhimbavada. And don't think that there is a big difference of opinion in this. Basically, all the three models create a harmony between Advaita Vedanta or principle of Advaita and the experience of Dvaita. Experience of Dvaitam is also possible, and yet there is a Advaitam. So our Advaitam includes Dvaitam. That should be explained. For that, well, these three models are there. Now first I will go to Avachedavada. I will discuss all the three models independently, and then we will compare also later. First is Avachedavada. This Vada was supported by Shukadevji. This Vada was supported by his disciple, Gaudapadacharyaji, who is a disciple of Shukadevji. And also supported by a great Acharya, who has written a sub-commentary on Brahmasutra Bhashyam called Bhamati. That Acharya is name is Vachaspati Mishra. He also has accepted, to establish Jiva Brahma Aikyam, he has accepted the model of Avachedavada. Shukadevji, while teaching to Parikshit, at the end of Bhagavatam, well, he gave this teaching to Parikshit. And that teaching, the last teaching to Parikshit, was of Avachedavada. There the verse is in the Bhagavatam at the end. Gate binne yatha kashaha, akashaha syat yatha pura, evam dehe mrute jivaha, brahma sampadyate punaha. So in this Avachedavada, to explain between Jiva, or to explain the difference between Jiva Parameshwara, to explain the difference between Jiva and Jiva, or to explain the difference between Jiva and Parameshwara, they have taken an example of a space. In Avachedavada, if you want to identify Avachedavada is there or not, you see the example. If example is of a space, then definitely that is an explanation of a Jiva Brahma Aikyam through Avachedavada. No, Swamiji, that's not correct. Some smart person will tell me, Swamiji, we discussed Chaturvida Akasha in chapter 6 of Pancadasi. That I will talk to you, don't worry. Keep this in mind, okay? So, but right now, let us accept Gatakasha, Mahakasha, or Mathakasha, Mahakasha, etc., etc. Grihakasha, Mahakasha, etc. Once you make a pot, well, there is some space which is enclosed in that pot, which we call it as a pot space. And you make another pot. Then again there is another enclosed space, which is called pot space. Third pot you make. Then again there is an enclosed space, which we call pot space. Like that, as many pots are there, so many pot spaces are there. And that which has not been enclosed now, that's called Mahakasha. Great space, Mahakasha. So, in the pot or in the room, either, or in the plane, anything, or in the hall, whatever the space which is enclosed, well, that is a Grihakasha, etc., etc. Plane space, hall space, etc. And other than that, which is outside of that, well, that is Mahakasha. Now, let us try to understand this. Actually, I discussed this little in the last few days. But here, since we are discussing this prakriya, we will again try to become clear of this. So, the pot is made up of a clay. Let's accept that way. And therefore, it's just a clay only. And you add a water in the pot. Now you say you add a water. See this example. See this your sentence. I am adding water, Swami, in the pot. Okay, pot is what? Clay. Okay, so you are adding water in the pot means you are adding water in the clay part. What are you talking? That's not correct. Adding water in the pot is clay. Okay, then adding water in the clay part, that wall. Well, that is not correct. I am living in the house means, well, I am living in the house. House means what? These walls. Therefore, I am living in the walls. Well, that is not correct. So what we should understand is when you add a water in the pot, definitely you are adding water into the space, enclosed space in the pot. You are living in the house means you are living in the space, enclosed space. Well, enclosed by what? 4 walls. You are living in the space, enclosed space of the house. And therefore, you are keeping water in the pot space. You are living in the house space, etc. We have to say like that, but nobody says like this. Therefore, even though we use the words that I live in the house, I add water in the pot. Well, even though we say that, our laksham, our intended meaning was, when I say I am adding water in the pot, I am adding water in the pot space, even though I don't say that, but the intention is that. I am living in the house means I am living in the house space, that is my intention. Okay? Now next question. Suppose there are 1,000 pots and enclosed spaces are what? 1,000. So all that pot space is there, enclosed space in 1,000 pots. That is one alone or there are 1,000? That's the question. Well, space is one alone. If space is one, wait a minute, Swami, don't be smart. If space is one in all the pots ultimately, then when you add water in the one pot, that is one pot space, you are not filling up all the pot spaces. If space is one alone, you add water in the one pot space, all the pots will be filled up because it's one space ultimately. That is not happening. And therefore, each pot has a different space. Each pot space is different from another pot space and also different from the greater space. Because when you are adding water in the one pot space, is you are not adding water in the space. You cannot add. Therefore, that part space is different from Mahakasha also. And also that part space is different from another part space also. And therefore, Jiva is different. Jiva, Ishvara also is different. So nice. Okay. If you are saying so, that one space, part space which is enclosed by one part is different from the part space that is in the different part, means we could create a division in the space. We could create a division in a space. Can we create a division in the space? If that is so, well, you people, the people who are living in New York, downtown, what do you say for downtown? Then very less space they have. They can come to Silosberg, visit us, visit Dakshinamurti temple, and take lot of spaces there. So make a slice, like an ice cream slice, and take the space along with you, and add that space to your apartment, because you have a less room. You say also, I have a less room. So we add the room now. Can you do? No. Means space is indivisible. If space is indivisible, even the part also cannot create a division in the space. And therefore one part space is different from the another part space. One part space is different from that greater space cannot be said. Okay. So we will have to say only from the standpoint, please understand, only from the standpoint of the function, well, there is a division, not in reality. This is called empirical division, not absolute division. Really, there is no division, only empirically. So far as the purpose of the enclosed space is concerned, definitely one part space you can fill up the water. You cannot fill up the water in a greater space. But in part space you can fill up the water. You cannot fill up the space in a room. You cannot fill up the water in a room. No, we can fill it up. That you can do anything in the world. But generally I am saying. Or else let us do this way. You can live in the room space, but you cannot live in the part space. You can live in the room space, but you cannot live in the part space. Okay? Now that is okay. So far as divisions we are doing, now room space must be different from the part space, because what you can do here, you cannot do here. But that's a division based on the function. Based on function, not absolute division. There is no division at all. How can you say that? This is all your theory. No, Gaudapada Acharya ji told in Mandukya Karika. Yatha ekasmin ghatakashe rajo dhumadi bhirvrute na sarve samprayujyante tadvat jiva sukhadibihi. So, in one part there may be a smoke, or there may be a dust, finer particles of dust in one part space. Or in another part space there is a smoke. Third part space has no dust, no smoke. All possible. So, yatha ekasmin ghatakashe rajo dhumadi bhirvrute. Raja, dust. Dhumaha, smoke. So, that is true. Then other part spaces will not be covered with that. May not have dust in the space, or may not have a smoke in the space, that part space. Same way, na sarve samprayujyante tadvat jivaha sukhadibihi. Tadvat, in the same manner, jivaha sukhadibihi, one jiva who is experiencing sukha dukkha Well, but that Jiva you said, if there is no Jiva, really it is Brahman. Then one Jiva is also Brahman, other Jiva is Brahman, third Jiva is Brahman, fourth Jiva is Brahman. Then one Jiva experiences Sukha Dukkham. Well, the same Atma is there in the other place. So he also should experience the same Sukham and the same Dukkham at the same time and same place. No, that is not happening. Therefore, one Jiva is different from another Jiva. Not correct. That's not correct. One Jiva experiences Sukha Dukkha, other does not experience. Therefore, one Jiva is different from another Jiva. That Atma is different from another Atma. That's not true. See, this is how it is. Anyway, so Ghatakasha, Mahakasha, etc. in reality, Vastutaha is one alone. But Karyataha, so far as the functions are concerned, of the enclosed spaces, they are different. In Mahakasha, in greater space, the flight takes off. But in part space, flight cannot take off. Flight cannot enter into that. And therefore, well, it doesn't mean the part space is different from the space which is outside. So why even empirical difference? Upaditaha. These three words you keep, please remember. Vastutaha, Karyataha, Upaditaha. That's it. Just these three things these three things are like a boat. They will basically, make you cross over samsara ocean. So, vastutaha, in reality, karyataha, empirically, function-wise, and upaditaha, that difference in the function is due to difference in upadi. Upaditaha. So, upadi, that part, because of which there is an enclosed space called part space. Suppose that upadi gets destroyed, now that enclosed space, you really see it as a great space. And you cannot fill up the water. The water which you were able to fill up in the pot space, when the pot breaks, you are not able to fill it up with the water. And therefore, the differences in the function were due to differences in upadi. That is the thing. Anyway, therefore, O Parikshit, right? Parikshit said, right, this evam dehe mrute jivaha brahma sampadyate punaha. Therefore, well, Parikshit was about to die. So, well, when this Shukdevi says, when the body dies, well, so all the Shariratraya will be negated, then the same Atma, which you were calling it as a Jiva, now, well, becomes Paramatma. The Paramatma alone appeared due to this Upadhi, like a pot. Pot space was created due to pot, enclosed. Same all-pervading Brahman was appearing as a Jiva due to this pot, Shariratraya. When that goes away, same Jiva, well, merges into Brahman. So Brahman appears as a Jiva here, and due to this Upadhi, but it is in reality, it is Paramatma alone. This was a purport of a Shukadevji's teaching to Parikshit at the end of Bhagavatam. Then Vachaspati Mishra also has supported this Avacheda Vada. Now this Vada we will try to understand it little differently also. Very wonderful. See, the difference between Jivatma and Paramatma is what? or difference between pramata and sakshi is what? To understand that, there is one example. Let us take that example. When I say to some person present in the room, when I say Jalam Anaya, well, bring water. I say this much. But the person is smart. Simple thing actually. That he brings water along with the container. जल के साथ पात्र भी अपेक्षित है. What are you saying? Hindi thoda in between. Why you are saying Hindi? Because I gave lecture in Hindi, so I'm reading from Hindi word to converting into English. So even though I do not say Jalam Patra Sahitam, Jalam, oh bete, bring Anaya. No, I don't say Jalam Anaya. Person understands that along with the Jalam, he brings Patram. Otherwise, he cannot bring Jalam. Anyway, so Jala Sahita Patram Anaya, that should be the meaning of the Jalam. Jalam Anaya is equal to Patra Sahita Jalam Anaya. So Jalam is equal to, please understand this. Jalam is equal to Patra Sahita Jalam. And so, Patra, the meaning of word Patram is included in Jalam itself. Which I will call it as a Patra Vishishtam Jalam Anaya. Okay, this is clear. Patra Sahitam, replace word Sahitam by the word Vishishtam. There is a purpose, I will tell you. Patra Vishishtam Jalam Anaya. जैसा पात्र होगा वैसा जल रहेगा. If you patram is like a cylinder, then jalam also will be cylinder. So patra vishishtam jalam anaya. Jalam is equal to patra vishishtam jalam. Okay, now I utter is another sentence. When he brings the water, then I say aham jalam pibami. Right? Here also I use the word jalam. Earlier also I used word jalam. Right? Jalam anaya. Now I say aham jalam pibami. So, Swamiji, we have already said jalam is equal to patra vishishtam jalam. Therefore, aham jalam pibami means I am drinking water along with the patram. क्या बात है? Patra vishishtam jalam pibami means I am drinking water also and drinking patram also. Well, that is not the case. Even if it is a disposable cup or patram, still, well, we can't take that. So what we here, our own intellect, when I say aham jalam pibami, our intellect removes the meaning of the word patram from the meaning of the word jalam. First, jalamana is equal to patra vishishtam jalam. Now jalam is equal to patra rahitam jalam. That is the thing. वही difference है. Single word, but intellect understands both sentences correctly. Even with a person having a no formal education, understands this very well. One word, two meanings. Sahitam, rahitam. Same way. Word aham. So when you say word aham, means aham is equal to pramata, jivaha, ahankaraha. Means antakarana vishishta chaitanyam. And when you say aham is equal to Brahma, antakarana upahita chaitanyam. Rahitam is equal to upahitam. Sahitam is equal to vishishtam. Antakarana vishishtam chaitanyam. I will explain you, don't worry. Antakarana vishishta chaitanyam. Pramata, jivaha, ahankaraha. Antakarana rahita is equal to antakarana upahita chaitanyam is sakshi. One word aham, one word jalam, one word aham. Well, the meaning is quite different. Same way, like our example definitely includes eatables. Ice cream. So, when you say ice cream, I bought ice cream. Will you take? If you ask to Swami, Swami will say yes. I bought ice cream. You have bought ice cream along with the cone. Definitely, I hope so. Not that from the cone you have put it into your bag and threw the cups, no, or cone, no. So basically, but when you say I eat ice cream, definitely it is kona rahita ice cream. When you say I bought ice cream, kona sahita ice cream. Okay, this is how it is. From this, we can make a difference between Visheshana and Upadhi. Vishishtam, Upahitam. Sahitam, Rahitam. Beautiful. Visheshana, Upadhi difference. The definition of a Visheshana, Lakshanam of Visheshana is Karya Anvayitve Sati, Vyavartakatve Sati, Vidyamanatvam Visheshanasya Lakshanam. That which defines an object being an integral part of the object is Visheshanam. Now, what is Vyavartakam? Karya Anvayitve Sati, Vyavartakatve Sati. Visheshana also is a Vyavartaka. Upadhi also is a Vyavartaka. What is this Vyavartaka? Well, Vyavartaka means that which specifies the object, excluding it from all objects, is called Vyavartakam. Differentiator. Lakshakam, you can say. So, that which specifies the object, excluding it from all objects, is differentiator, Vyavartakam. But anyway, now you have understood what is Visheshana. Visheshana means that which defines an object being an integral part of the object is Visheshanam. Visheshana also is a Vyavartaka. Aham Krodhi. Wah. Wah. Aham Krodhi. So there, definitely, right? You are qualifying yourself. I am angry. So you are qualifying yourself. And this is Visheshana. Why? Antakarana Sahitam Chaitanyam. Right? Antakarana Sahita Chaitanyam. If you say no, Antakarana is not included, Chaitanyam is Krodhi. Kya baat hai? Chaitanyam is not Krodhi. Antakarana Sahitam Chaitanyam. Therefore, Aham Krodhi. This is the Visheshana. The Krodaha is a Visheshana. Included. That which defines an object. That which defines an Aham being an integral part of Aham. Krodha is a part of aham. That way I define myself. Then it is Visheshana. And still it is a Vyavartakam. Differentiator. Differentiator to me or differentiator from other beings. Either. Now, Upadhi Lakshanam. Yastu Vastu Swarupe अंतरेण एव प्रवेशम व्यावर्तको भवति सह उपाधिः. Or else I will give you a simple definition. कार्य अनन्वयित्वे सति व्यावर्तकत्वे सति विद्यमानत्वम उपाधि लक्षणम. Only difference between Visheshana and Upadhi definition is anvayitve sati, part of it, being an integral part of it. Here, ananvayitve sati, not being an integral part of it, yet helps to differentiate. That is Upadhi. And they give this definition: Karna Shashkuli Avachinnam Nabaha Shrotram. Karna Shashkuli Avachinnam Nabaha. The space Avachinnam, enclosed. Karna Shashkuli. You know, Karna Shashkuli means the physical ear which has a space inside. Physical space inside. So that is Avachinnam. Avachinnam by this Upadhi. The space which is enclosed by this Karna Shashkuli, physical ear. I think it is called ear drum, perhaps, maybe. Anyway, so that is called Shrotrendriyam. Or else you can say Karna Golakam Shrotrasya Upadhihi Bhavati. This physical ear, well, which is a Upadhi, because of which there is an enclosed space, and that enclosed space is Shrotrendriya. Now, if the space is a Shrotrendriya, right, the enclosed space, enclosed by what? The space which is enclosed by Karna Shashkuli, by physical ear or ear drum, is Shrotrendriya. Ultimately, that space is a Shrotrendriya. Okay. If that space is a Shrotrendriya, I would like to take the outer space also as a Shrotrendriya. No. Then, then definitely, for that purpose, you need not have to join the Zoom meeting. No way. Because the space is right there in your room. And you have not to even attend the Zoom meeting also. Because that is a Shrotrendriya. You are able to hear there and there. In the kitchen, if you are cooking dal and rice, there also you can listen. Because space, all the time pervading everywhere. Anywhere you go, you listen Swami's words everywhere. Need not join Zoom meeting. No, that space is not Shrotrendriya. That's what we are seeing. The space which is enclosed by Upadhi called this. So that space is differentiated from the external space. So this is also Vyavartakam. Upadhi becomes a Vyavartakam. Anyway, so Avachinnam Nabaha, enclosed space, is Shrotrendriya. So even though that enclosed space is Shrotrendriya and enclosed by this Upadhi, enclosed by this Karna Shashkuli, in Shrotrendriya that physical part is not included. If Shrotrendriya includes physical part, there is no division between Sukshma Sharira and Sthula Sharira. This is a Sthula Sharira, Golaka. Shrotrendriya is a, no, it is Sukshma Sharira, it is not Sthula. Okay, means this is not included, even though that is an enclosure. That's not included. When it is not included, right, still that enclosed space is useful. This is Shrotrendriya. So when that which defines an object without being an integral part of the object is upadhi. That which defines an object being an integral part of the object is visheshanam. Aham krodhi is visheshanam. Aham sakshi. Yeah, not included. Through upadhi only. With respect to antakaranam, the same consciousness, the Brahman, is called sakshi. Kutastha. Antakaranam is not kutastham. What is vikari has been illumined, derives a consciousness, derives existence. So through antakaranam we realize, oh, I am sakshi. So that helps you to differentiate. But definitely it is not included in that. So antakaranam is very limited. That limitation of antakaranam is seen in the consciousness. The dharmas of the antakaranam are seen in a consciousness. That consciousness, which includes the antakaranam or the attributes of the antakaranam, that consciousness is called jivaha, pramata, or ahankara. Antakarana vishishta chaitanyam. But through antakaranam, ultimately you come to know the seer number 3, the sakshi. Yeah? How through antakaranam? Because we say this antakaranam is illumined. The various thoughts of the antakaranam are illumined. They are conscious. They have a chidabhasa, whatever you say. I don't want to use because now I'm in avachedavada, so I don't want to include. But you can understand. How can you say the sakshi is there? Well, because through mind. The whole mind is illumined. Mind itself is made up of subtle elements. It's all inert, but it appears conscious. Oh, there is a sakshi which is distinct from the mind, which is free from any vikaras, which is kutastha, and which illumines the mind. So through mind, you come to know the sakshi, yet the mind is not included in the sakshi, consciousness. Then that mind is called upadhi. So now aham is, sakshi. Through upadhi of antakaranam I came to know. So this sakshi is what? Antakarana upahita chaitanyam. So antakarana upahita chaitanyam is sakshi, witness consciousness. Antakarana vishishta chaitanyam is pramata, jivaha, ahankara. Either. Visheshana and upadhi both are differentiators. One differentiates being the part of it. One differentiates without being part of it. This is called avachedavada. Now, abhasavada and pratibhimbavada we'll discuss in next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.